And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Again, we're getting there. So hit subscribe, watch, comment. Please keep the comments coming and share with family and friends, because every day we're just going to be met with stupidity and chaos. Meanwhile, Alina Habba once again had her 5 minutes of fame, but it doesn't look like things are going well for her. Now, as I'm sure that you've seen, there's been drama surrounding her appointment as U.S. Attorney for the state of New Jersey, especially after the court cases slammed to a halt yesterday. Now, let's back up. Remember, in March, Trump appointed Alina, and she had 120 days to obtain confirmation. Problem? Last week, when she didn't get the approval, New Jersey's federal judges, they rejected extending her term. Play the clip.
Well, it could be back to the White House soon. Federal judges in the District of New Jersey have declined to extend Alina Habba's appointment as interim U.S. Attorney. President Trump appointed Habba to the position on March the 24th. Interim U.S. attorneys are only allowed to serve for 120 days if they are not either confirmed by the U.S. Senate or extended indefinitely by the district court in their jurisdiction. We'll find out soon what's in her future plans.
Ballsy move by the judges, but instead, what did they do? Well, they appointed career prosecutor Desiree Grace. Now, sadly for Desiree, she didn't last long. AG Pam Bondi then posted this. Let me show you what she said. In it, she writes, U.S. Attorney Habba has been doing a great job in making New Jersey safe again. Nonetheless, politically minded judges refuse to allow her to continue in her position, replacing Alina with the first assistant. Accordingly, the first assistant United States attorney in New Jersey has just been removed. Really? This Department of Justice does not tolerate rogue judges, especially when they threaten the president's core Article 2 powers. Really dangerous stuff going on here, but Habba was then made, get a load of this, can't stop them. This is the problem. Habba was made the acting U.S. attorney, which now lasts for greater. It lasts for 210 days. Let me show you this post. All right, in it, it turns around and it says, Donald J. Trump is the 47th president. Remind you, this is coming from Alina Habba. Donald J. Trump is the 47th president. Pam Bondi is the attorney general. Well, thank you. And now I am the acting U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey. I don't cower to pressure. I don't answer to politics. This is a fight for justice, and I'm all in. Got to tell you, 3.6 million views on that. 3.6 million. Okay. Acknowledging Trump is the 47th president, Pam Bondi is, what do you mean you don't cower to politics? The way the policy works is the judges ultimately make a decision. Just because you don't like the decision doesn't mean there's a problem with the system. Now, let me show you a part of a New York Times article breaking down the complications of this situation. In it, it turns around and it says, one of the primary legal questions surrounding Ms. Habba's tenure stems from a federal statute that bars candidates from serving as an acting U.S. attorney if they have been nominated to hold the job permanently. Mr. Trump withdrew Ms. Habba's nomination, which was pending before the U.S. Senate, before she was appointed acting U.S. attorney on Thursday, according to a Justice Department spokesperson. But legal scholars immediately began questioning whether Ms. Habba, President Trump's former personal lawyer, was disqualified from holding the job because her name had already been submitted for Senate confirmation. The statute states that, and I quote, a person may not serve as an acting officer if the president, again quote, submits a nomination of such person to the Senate for appointment to such office. Withdrawing the nomination does not change the fact that it was submitted, Stephen Vladeck, a professor at Georgetown University Law Center, wrote on social media. Now look, it gets even messier when a lawyer goes ahead and then filed a motion challenging Habba's authority. And let me show you what that says. In it, he turns around and he writes, New Jersey criminal cases screech to a halt as Habba's authority is challenged. Federal court hearings, grand jury proceedings, and plea deals were abruptly canceled in New Jersey over questions about whether Alina Habba, the acting U.S. attorney, was legally appointed. Further, federal court proceedings throughout New Jersey were abruptly canceled on Monday because of uncertainty over whether Alina Habba had the authority to serve as acting U.S. attorney, a title she was given last week as her interim appointment as the state's top federal prosecutor was about to expire. Pre-trial conferences and hearings set for defendants to enter pleas were called off, according to 4 lawyers who received word that their clients' scheduled court appearances had been canceled. A grand jury that was expected to meet to consider indicting defendants on new criminal charges was put on hold. And a drug trial that was set to start August 4th in Camden, New Jersey, was moved to Pennsylvania after a lawyer representing one of the defendants filed a motion arguing that Ms. Habba's prosecutorial authority was unconstitutional. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Here's what it also says. I've never seen anything like this, said Maria Noto, a former president of the Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers of New Jersey. We're all incredulous. Ms. Noto said she was notified on Monday that a judge had canceled the hearing for a client who expected to enter a guilty plea later this week. And finally, turns around and says, Thomas Merigliano, the lawyer who filed Monday's legal motion challenging Ms. Habba's authority, said the drug trial had been moved out of concern that the murkiness of Ms. Habba's standing might undermine the proceedings. In court, Judge Edward S. Keel described Mr. Merigliano's motion as a non-frivolous argument and indicated that other federal judges were prepared to temporarily halt court proceedings in New Jersey while the matter of Ms. Habba's authority was being considered. I mean, this is really crazy stuff. Imagine the entire court system is now brought to a grinding halt because people don't know whether she is or she is not the acting U.S. attorney based upon 1, Mr. Trump, President Trump's appointment, and 2, the law. Now, while we all wait to see what happens with Alina, and there's been plenty of controversy around her, not just her and her title in New Jersey, I want to end on a clip that hasn't aged too well. Remember earlier this spring, Habba told Piers Morgan that the Epstein files were disturbing and that what will be released will be shocking? I got a couple of questions. First and foremost, how did she know? Number 2, did she actually see it? And 3, what's her opinion today? Play the clip.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Cash and Pam, there will be accountability.
Okay. And let's open up the file. Let's see what it has to say, and let's hold those people accountable. Once and for every now and then, Alina and I agree. Now, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about Alina Habba. Yes, Trump is demonstrating some form of loyalty to her, but this isn't about her. This is about their desire to control the courts. In fact, coincidentally enough, I did my Substack this morning, which I entitled From Rule of Law to rule by fear. And this issue, it directly relates to the Substack that explains exactly why this administration needs Alina Habba to stay as the acting U.S. Attorney General for the state of New York. Let me turn around and show you what I write. In it, I start, what we're witnessing is a quiet coup of the courts. You don't need tanks in the streets. You just need enough compliant judges and a few well-placed threats, and voila, judicial independence becomes judicial obedience. Remember that. Even the Supreme Court is starting to flinch. And I talked earlier about Judge Boasberg. Remember, Boasberg's ruling was vacated on procedural grounds, not because it was wrong on substance. He was the one that said you cannot just deport without due process, but because the administration dragged its feet just long enough to render it moot. That's a fancy legal way of saying we ignored it until we didn't have to. The High Court isn't fighting back. It's actually looking the other way. And when the last court that could stop the king chooses to bow instead, we're not living in a democracy anymore. We're just cosplaying one. I further go on to say later in the Substack, that's the point. It's not about punishing one judge. It's about chilling all of them. If a well-respected chief judge, or in this case, U.S. attorney, can be targeted for speaking the truth, no one is safe. And when judges become afraid to rule, the law becomes a suggestion. This isn't democracy functioning. This is democracy flailing in a straitjacket. We were told the courts would save us, that they'd be the last line. But if Bondi and company, hello, Ms. Habba, keep this up, that line's going to vanish like an ethics complaint in the Trump cabinet. So let me be very, very clear here. This is about controlling the decision that Donald Trump wants for whether it's executive orders, whether it's policies, whether it is litigation that is instituted by attorneys around the country who see the executive orders or the policies as unconstitutional and illegal. That's the danger here of loyalists, not just as federal court judges, but as U.S. attorneys as well. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.